that make it all possible for us being here to be here. But again, as we said, a little bit of a holding pattern here. And, you know, I talk about it, but I think nobody paints a better picture of what we got going on here in the GNCC Racing Nation than Mr. Cotter, our Director of Operations. And, Tim, I tell you, you know, another successful year. This is, you look back on this, here we are, round number 12. A very challenging season, to say the least. When we started out, we had that rain out at the beginning of the season, and then we had lots of rain throughout the springtime. But, man, I tell you, the track crew really buckled down. The crew back at the office buckled down, made things happen. But, wow, what a year so far. And to be able to come to a place like this right here as the penultimate round, our next to the last round, it is a great way, I think, to celebrate a great season of racing.
Yeah, you're right, Rodney. It did start out difficult. We're here to tell you that Big Buck is on the schedule again for round 1 of next year. Our schedule will be announced here probably in the next 30 days. You will see the schedule, and we are planning on going back to Big Buck. We're fortunate to be here at the Bechtel Summit Reserve here in southern West Virginia. It's a great place. The Scouts, there are 800 Scouts on property today, folks, on a different part of this property, and they are all very impressed with the athleticism and motorcycle racing. Yesterday, we had an opportunity to meet with a fellow by the name of Todd McGregor. Todd McGregor is the director of this particular Scout Ranch. They have 4 of these in the United States, and he said in 125 years of scouting, there has never been a motorcycle race on a Scouts of America property. So we are a first. I believe we will be back here next year. So please tell your friends what a great piece of property it is, and what a wonderful opportunity it is to come to southern West Virginia. It's Golly season. What does that mean? The Golly River is one of the top 5 rivers in the world for whitewater rafting, and the Golly season is open. So if you're into Class 5 rapids, very challenging rivers, it's right here in this area. Fayetteville, West Virginia, voted the coolest city in America. It's about 10 miles away. Great restaurants, really nice vibe here at down in southern West Virginia. Next weekend, if you were to stay here, next weekend the New River Gorge Bridge, which is the largest arch bridge in the United States. It was the largest in the world in the Western Hemisphere. It's the largest in the Western Hemisphere. Next weekend is Bridge Day. They close that bridge down. They let you jump off of it. And you can parachute to the bottom of the bridge here at the New River Gorge Bridge. So we're glad to have you here. We're glad to be here at the Scout facility. And, hey, there's Tim Borick. You were an Eagle Scout, weren't you? Tim Borick is back, a longtime employee. So, oh, and it is. You can't, hey, this is a Chamber of Commerce day, is it not? This is absolutely a Chamber of Commerce day here in the shadows of Beckley, West Virginia. Again, we're so glad that you've decided to come race with us. Tell your friends about the Scout Ranch. When we get it on the schedule next year, make sure you circle this one. We'll go back to Rodney.
All righty, thanks, Tim. What did I tell you? Nobody paints a better picture of what we've got going on here. And, of course, Bolton just making his way off the track right on cue here. Broken foot and all. He's traded the 2-wheel machine in for a 4-wheeler. So you got to give your tip of the hat to Jared Bolton. Like I said yesterday, he had a little bit of an incident where he busted his foot up, and he's still out there working, making sure everyone getting around this racetrack. And look, he's hobbling, but he's still working. That right there is a true GNCC man right there. Jared, tell us a little bit about this racetrack, brother. And I tell you, it's looking real good out there.
Yeah, it's actually looking really, really good. The first 3 miles are going to be really rocky. It's going to be pretty technical. It's going to be tough. But once you get past about the 3.5, it's going to get really, really, really fun there for a bit. And then you're going to get in some rocks again, and then you're going to get back into some more fun stuff. But guess what? Even those rocks, even when they're slick, they're still pretty fun. Really good track out there this morning. So you guys are taking off from the start here. You're actually starting a little bit before the 1 mile mark. So your first lap's going to be just a smidge shorter than the others. You'll drop through the field here, drop into a quick section of woods, back in the field, and then you're going to go back in the woods again. Got a good little rock garden in there. There's a bunch of different lines through it. The minis rode it. They didn't have any trouble, so you guys shouldn't have much trouble with it either. That'll take you back around, pop out in the field just a second again, go back in the woods, technical little downhill section into some rocks over to the 2 mile mark. And then basically from the 2 to the 3, it's some off-camber rocks, some uphill rocks. It's pretty much solid rock from the 2 to the 3 mile mark. Same thing, I mean, when I rode at the end of the day yesterday before I smashed my foot, it was pretty good. Nothing too hard in there. It's just good technical stuff all the way to the 3. You're going to cross over a little road at the 3 mile mark, head up in the woods. You got one little hill climb up in there that's a little bit challenging, but nothing too bad. Work your way through some off-camber and ups and downs all the way to the 4 mile mark. And then, like I said, the 4 mile mark, back around for a bit. You get on some good off-camber trail that the quads weren't going super fast on. So it's really dry dirt. It's good stuff. Good off-camber, ups and downs, a little something for everyone in there. There's some tighter trails, there's some faster trails, basically from the 4 to the 5 all the way to the 6. Really good stuff. 6 mile marks where I hit the log yesterday and smashed my foot up, so they actually did me a favor and took all of that. They took out that log, so you guys ain't got to worry about that. After the 6 mile mark, you'll get to a couple little creek crossings, nothing too major, got good rock bottoms to them. That'll take you all the way over to the 7, and then it opens up just a little bit there at the 7. A little bit faster trail for a bit. Come down, cross over the power line, and then it gets technical again. Good rocky downhill section. Long downhill. You're basically coming all the way down in this valley, all the way down to the 8 mile mark. You got a little hill climb just past the 8 that'll bring you up to a fast section. Run all the way out this old logging road a bit, and you're going to drop back off into some tighter stuff. Zigzag back and forth there just a bit, and it's going to bring you out kind of down below the start here. You'll come around to the 9 mile mark, work your way back and forth over to the finish, come out in the finish, and then you got about a mile to bring you back to where you started at. That's a mix open trail and field, and a little bit of everything through there. Good stuff. So all in all, you guys are going to be basically 9.5 miles. A little bit shorter than what we normally run you, but it's technical. Your lap times are going to be closer to what we normally see. So good luck, be safe, have fun, and pay attention to those arrows. The arrows, not the trail. Pay attention to the arrows, and they won't steer you wrong.
All right, thanks a lot, Jared, and certainly appreciate you digging deep there, my friend, and doing the job. Also, just want to remind everyone, safety first. GNCC racing and trail sweeping, like all motorsports, can be dangerous. Racers, now that you have had an opportunity to inspect the course, have heard the race procedures and a description of the course, if you feel that either you or your machine is not prepared, then now is the time for you to withdraw for a complete refund of your entry fee, no questions asked. It is your responsibility to operate your machine in a safe manner, maintaining control at all times. Remember, use extreme caution when approaching areas with high concentrations of fans, and do not take unnecessary risks and endanger the safety of fans. You will be penalized for reckless racing. And race fans, due to the nature of GNCC racing, there is no fence barrier around the course. It is your responsibility to keep yourself and your children a safe distance from the race course. Never turn your back on oncoming racers, and remember, stay off the racetrack. And finally, for the safety of everyone, unauthorized drones are prohibited at GNCC and will be confiscated. I want to take this opportunity at this moment to welcome everyone along on YouTube, on racertv.com, and of course GNCC Live, and remind you after these starts, tune back in at about 1 o'clock this afternoon as we'll go live with our XC1, 2, 3, and all of our A and B classes. But right now, getting ready for starts. And before we get this race day up and rolling for this 10 o'clock race, Mr. Ricky Towery to ask a blessing.
Thank you, Rodney. Hey, let's go, Lord, and have a word of prayer together this morning. Heavenly Father, once again, we just thank you for bringing us all together safely so we can have a little fun together. We just ask you will watch over these riders this morning. Lord, keep them safe. Let them go out there and have a good time together. Once again, watch over our military men and women in all parts of this world each and every day, fighting for this freedom so we can have a free country to live in and come out here and do what we love doing. Lord, we just thank you for the season of the years. It's such a beautiful place. It's such a beautiful day. We don't take time sometimes to thank you for the small things in life. Thank you for the season that you give us every year. Lord, just take us all home safely when it's over with so we can get back together again one day. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would, please remain standing, stand at attention, remove those caps, and cross those hearts as we honor the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem. Well, there you have it, folks. The stage is set. And GNCC Racing is about to resume here this morning as we get set to meet our starting lineup for the WXC class, our premier class here on Sunday morning. And, of course, our riders making their way to the starting line, choosing their start positions in accordance to points in this 2019 AMSOIL GNCC season. Rolling to the line first today, she rides aboard the number 2. Hailing from Circleville, Ohio on a Fly Max's KTM back to ride, Becca Sheets. Rolling to the line second today in points, riding aboard the number 1, your defending champion from Australia on a Rockstar Husky, will be Taylor Jones. Third in points, riding aboard the number 650, hailing from New Zealand on an Ampro Yamaha, Rachel Archer. Fourth in points, aboard the 828 from Australia on a Bonsai Plumbing KTM, Mackenzie Trigger. The number 703, fifth in points, hailing from Bridgeton, New Jersey on a Mike Beeler Racers Edge KTM, Cheyenne Phelps. The number 444, sixth in points from Beloit, Ohio, riding on a gas backed by Fly and Bell, Corey Steed. The number 239, currently ranked seventh in points from Bertrandville, Pennsylvania, Ride Free Ministries, Martin Motorsports back KTM of Annalisa Davis. The number 483, eighth in points, out of Wilmington, Indiana on a Scott Goggles, YNS Designs Yamaha, Elizabeth Perez. And 10th in points aboard the number 4 from Terre Haute, Indiana, paid to USA, Moose of the ride back to Rachel Goodish. Rolling to the line next aboard the 501 from Barron's, Alberta, Canada, on a KTM, Shelby Turner. And the 589 from Jacksonville, Florida, riding aboard the Yamaha, Eden Nepekos. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this, the WXC class, and this Yamaha Mountaineer GNCC, our premier class, making their way onto the starting line right now as we speak. And of course, nearly 400 riders on this starting line, about ready to take to the trails of southern West Virginia and this Summit Bechtel Reserve for this 12th round of our 13-round championships. Championships could be crowned here today and wrapped up. Some of them may take until the Ironman. Of course, we'll just have to wait and see. Right now, my friends, we are in our starting sequence as machines are revving up and warming up. And next, Ricky Towery will begin to orchestrate our starts once again as he makes his way into that first turn region and signals to these riders we now have 1 minute. 1 minute before the waving of the green flag and GNCC racing resuming here in the mountains of southern West Virginia and this Summit Bechtel Reserve. The next sign we see will be the blue flag waving. That will be 30 seconds before the start of the race. It will also be a dead engine call for all of these machines to shut them down and, of course, ready themselves for the start. And following that, of course, they'll be looking for that left arm going straight out. But right now, less than 30 seconds as we shut them down, guys and gals. And, of course, turning our attention up to Ricky Towery there in turn one as he lets us know it's about time to roll in a matter of only 10 seconds for row number one, the WXC, here at the Yamaha Mountaineer GNCC. Well, I heard a machine fire up a little early. That's the 828 of Mackenzie Trigger taking the early lead. I believe it was actually a row two rider that maybe started a little bit early. So I don't know that there'll be any penalties divvied out, but Sportsman A coming up next. We got Cody Pingley, Buddy Barnes, Bailey Parker, Jonathan Settler, Corey Neely, Andrew Kent. 10 seconds. Also, Braden Moore, Aaron Studer, Jonathan Harker, Kevin Johnson, Mason Stevens, Aiden Bevel, Justin Ramsey, Jacob Smith, Thomas Caldwell, Troy Horvedy, Nathan Thornhill, Benjamin Lee, Chris Lamb, Chris Montgomery, Randall Irvin, Eric Breitmeyer, Blake Grindstaff, Eli Childers, Brandon Peterson, Nick Mellinger, and it is going to be, whoa, let's give that one to the 737. Maybe Brandon Peterson as we go to the Masters A class, I believe, next. And Ricky Towery lets us know 10 seconds. Dr. Steve Thaxton, B. Thorne, Scott Haynes, Troy Stanley, Kerry Comer, Gary Maynard, David Pilcher, Bill Gold, Michael Johnson, Michael Casale, Jeff Grove, and Todd Gearing off and rolling here. A Masters 50 plus class, and that's going to be the 409. All right, I didn't have him listed on my sheets there, so we'll go to our next class. Hopefully we're on the right row here. Silver Masters A class coming up. Less than 10 for Steve Lembruno, Ray Fehrenbach, Greg Grimm, Roy Johnson, Tim Bork, Daniel Garrison, John Kars, and Norman Turnberg. All right, so my paperwork might be a little discombobulated here. Sorry about this, or maybe I'm turning multiple pages. All right, now we're on Masters A. All right, Masters A. This is Steve Thaxton, B. Thorne, Scott Haynes, and Troy Stanley, and the boys in less than 10 seconds. Doggone paperwork sticking together on us there a moment ago. Apologize to that, but Super Senior A, Scott Kirchhoff got the whole shot in that class, by the way. There is the 988 Norman Turnberg. Norman Turnberg taking the lead in that one. Golden Masters A 60-plus class coming up next. 10 seconds. Mark Michelini, Craig McClellan, Robert Allison, and Kim Menke.
Yeah, my paper's stuck together. Not as well everybody else is.
All right, here we go. Kim Menke, yep, the whole shot master in the Golden Masters class. 125 BC class coming up next. We got Jacob Blythe, Tyler Tishnell, Bryson Wilkins, Ty Ely. 10 seconds. Garrett Droppelman, Nicholas Ellison, Cody Reese, Caden Childers, Joseph Cooper, Drew Calloway, Toby Cleveland, Blake Kohler, Chase Pingley, Jocelyn Barnes, Leroy Petrie, Sam Gaines, Troy Smith, and Jeremiah Devers. All right, round. Ooh, big pile up in turn one, but coming out unscathed, the 566. Toby Cleveland from Aaron, New York, on a Fly Racing John's Equipment Rental 363 racing machine. Sportsman B class coming up next. Logan Goodwin, Isaac Prunty, Keaton Ultimates, Trenton Wood, Paul Fitzwater, Wyatt Ford, Ryan Bishop, Ben Remsing, Cameron Ware, Michael Cheney, Bodie Kemp, Brandon Reed, Nate Annan, Christopher Stevens, Stone Clark. Also looking at Edward Smith, Evan Whipke, Branson Soulsby, Cameron Hawkins, Nathan Short. 10 seconds. Craig Oberholzer, Justin Baker, Jake Fetcher, also Jacob Claxton, Brock Calloway, Quentin Clark, Alex Nichols, Nathan Pinkerton, Morgan Annis, Tillman McDaniel, PJ Roy, Brady Mercer, Ryan Nolan, and Zachariah Tanky. Oh, 485. Cameron Ware from Brewston Mills, West Virginia will grab the early lead in this one as we go to the Super Senior B 45-plus class. James Noose, our GNCC Pastor Chuck LeMaster on the 316. Calvin Goodwin, also Anthony Reed, Thomas Lambert, Billy Evans, Kevin McLaughlin, Mark Castile, Jeffrey Flynn, David Snuffer, and Dan Stimpowski. 10 seconds. Here we go, around that first turn, getting it all sorted out. Wow, look at that. It's going to be the 520 of Jeffrey Flynn from Old Fields, West Virginia on the KTM, taking that lead. But, man, we had some great position jockeying going on out of that first turn. Masters B, these guys are 50-plus. Kenny Workman, Gary Basseng, Craig Smith, Neil Morrell, Sean Newsom, also David Parsons, Merle Pogson, Doug Phillips, Brett Hayes, and Rodney Wood. Less than 10. There go the Masters B now. And at the second turn, it's going to be 973 Rodney Wood from Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. All right, Silver Masters B 55-plus coming up next. 10 seconds. Bernie Redmond, David Graham, Timothy Anderson, Marshall Young, James Dice, Jeff Devinson. Also Michael Erdman, Robert Thaw, Adam Prismont, and John Zellum. Whoa! All right, Devincent. I saw Devincent, but that's Jeff Devincent. I was just going through I was like, I know that I never said that right until just now, I think. Elite Masters 65-plus, 10 seconds. Gordon Stout. Go get him, Gordy. All right, Golden Masters BC 60-plus coming up next with Mark Randolph. By the way, Gordy's going to get the whole shot in that one. 66 years old. 60 plus coming up next. Mark Randolph, Jim Douglas, Larry Root, Dale Falwell, and Kevin Outland. 10 seconds. And they're off and rolling. And if you're out of North Carolina and you say, Dale Falwell, that sounds like the North Carolina State Treasurer. Well, that's exactly who it is. He is a former champion of the Masters 50-plus class and also out here with us racing the day. 4:15, Larry Root, though, from West Farmington, Ohio, on a Point View cycle, grabbing the early lead in this one as we go to our next women's class. And this is Preston Rains, Marina Cancrew, Heather Cosner, Jenna Harker, Allie Phillips, and Tiffany Valentine in 10 seconds. Normalville. That's where Tiffany Valentine is from. Is there any place normal in America? Well, Normalville seems to be a pretty good place to start, I guess. Oh, man, that was a good one. 369, Preston Rains in the 742, Allie Phillips. Phillips will actually grab the lead at Lawrence, South Carolina on a Lansmill XC Husqvarna, backed by TI Designs and Dunlop Tires. Master C 50-plus class coming up next. 10 seconds. Milton Taylor, Paul Lepwich, Brian Flowers, Ron Cantley, James Carter, Todd Sisti, Randall Watson, Steve Lawson, Brian Ryan, Stephen Barakis, Eric Yadis, Bill Faint, Roy Schwalbach, John Fox, John Stewart, and Lee Edens. I tell you, there's like 3 guys that are standing here, and every time they stand right in front of me to see Ricky Towery. 465, getting the early lead. Bill Faint from Hoshka, Georgia. But it's just amazing. I'll see Ricky, and then 3 guys step right in my line. I can't see green flags or anything. But here we go. Women's C class. Kara Parsons, Melissa Parsons, Amber Hanna, Haley Phillips, Claudia Danielwicks, Carrie Knox, and Annie Bean in 10 seconds. Rounding that first turn down the women's C class. 7:15 is Haley Phillips from Holbrook, Pennsylvania. Well, she about got that one taken away from her, but is able to regain the lead coming out of that second turn as we get to the 250C junior 25-plus class. 10 seconds. John Sharp, Tyler Compson, Michael Mulvick, Derek Lasik, Jeffrey Robinette, Brad Mounts, Tavis Rankin, Stephen Cantley, Danny Olstad, Tyler Lester, Tyler Shepardson, Old T. Shep, and Travis Fetter. Around the first turn, heading to turn 2. It is 430 on his helmet. Michael Mulvick out of Leicester, West Virginia. All righty, coming up next, Open Seat College, 16 to 24-year-olds. Dylan Fleming, Jordan Miller, Cody Wadsworth, Alex Byers, Cody Naylor. 10 seconds. Corey Robinson, Hunter Helmick, Joseph Burchard. Also Nathan Cremeen, Shane Felton, and Jamison Hardy. Well, a good jump by Adair Altus, West Virginia. Shane Felton, but at the whole shot stripe, 431, Jordan Miller out of Acme, Pennsylvania on a Miller Transport LLC machine, grabbing the early lead. Senior C40 plus class, Billy B. Gross III, Chris Knight, Jude Gavar, Shad Reynolds, Everett Baker, Scott Grenwis. Also looking at Jeremy Toney, Robert Whitlock, Rick Liller, Jeffrey Blake, and Matthew Stover. All right, who's going to grab the early lead? It's going to be 4-6-4. That is going to be Shad Reynolds from Lexington, Kentucky, home of the Big Blue. And, of course, he's brought to you by Central Kentucky Motorsport. Super Senior 45-plus class coming up next. 10 seconds. James Iglehart, Gregory Burrows, Bobby Tomasiak, Scott Brown, Michael Mulvick, Sean Wishart, Gerald Stone, Dave Lettrick, George Wadowicz, Wahovics, something like that. Aaron Wishart, James Dobson, Eric Buzzard, also Trey Algram, Chris Schaefer, Jeff Keller, John Crane, Charles Haas, Joe Weiss, Jeff Lester. Also, Michael Tolliver, Daniel Ellison, Danny Mullins, and Bobby Flincham. And I believe it might have been James Dobson out of Craigsville, West Virginia, grabbing that early lead in this super senior class. 10 seconds. That C30 plus class, Justin Mason, Bradley Roberts, Bobby Buckholtz, Jeff Elliott, Walter Schumacher, Travis Gross, Seth Marshall, Joshua Karen, Daniel Parlier, Andrew Atkins, Chris Maynard, Andrew Willard, Kevin Hudson, Derek Cooper, Nathan Ferguson, Austin DeAlexander, Brian Brailsford, Adam Odell, and Shane Stacy. Your leader, 386, I believe, it's Justin Mason from Bolt, West Virginia, grabbing the early lead. Super Vet C35 plus class, Lyle Helbert. Also Jason Smith, Diego Rodriguez, Chad Varney, Michael Atkins, Cody Hosta, and Stephen Moore in 10 seconds. Well, let's see who's going to come away with this one now. 530, Chad Varney from Georgetown, Ohio. As we go to the 4-stroke C lights class next in 10 seconds. Austin Sentinel, Andrew Dansko, Gannon Swisher, Thomas McDaniel, Cody Linda, Matthew Ivory, and Griffin Puckett. Alan Dansko on the MVR suspension slick product Scott Grills back machine, doing quite well off the line, but it's the 241 of Austin Sentinel from Traverse West, South Carolina, grabbing the early lead, back by Fast Company Promotion and Flow Vision. Open Sea Junior 25 plus, 10 seconds. Joe Murphy, Tyler Cornell, Wiley Ford, Mitchell Sutherland, Jesse Carson, Timothy Walker, Bradford Sanders, Garrett George, Wesley Lester, Cruz Johnson, Andrew Ellington, and Bobby Blevins. Wiley Ford from St. Mary's, West Virginia. An old school GNCC, man. I ain't see. He comes on very rare occasion, but welcome back, Wiley. 250C Schoolboy 14-17 coming up next. Chad Evenshine, Sean Sumney, Lee Hovatter, Caden Roos, Carter Holes, Aaron Hart, Ethan Dingle, Hayden Schultz, Colby Uhl, Burke Marsiglia, and Ryan Harms. 10 seconds. 250C Schoolboy off and rolling now. Wow, swapping back and forth, the 820. Blake Marsiglia from Sparks, Maryland, going to end up holding on to the lead of that one. 200C 16 plus class coming up next. 10 seconds. Jesse Branson, Chris Eddy, Trevor Golden, Ramey Seegers, and Kyle Butler. We're a little more strict these days. I know. It's all about the safety. All right, we're waiting right now. We got a downed rider in turn 3. So, yeah, but folks, we have, I know that some of you guys that are in here maybe don't realize it, but that is safety zone, and it also, hey, that's good to see them getting up. Also blocking my view, by the way. So they're off and rolling now in the 200C 16 plus class. And it is 5:04. Trevor Golden from Dunbar, Pennsylvania, on a ride-on moto, Morgantown Power Sports DGS suspension machine. We go to the 200C schoolboy class. These riders 12 to 15-year-olds. We're looking at Raymond Rhines, Landon Beatty, Ethan Hall, Less than 10 to go now is Gabe Holland and Tyler Brailsford. I think there's a two-stroke or two in this one. Maybe one or two. Maybe five. 7:23. Gabe Holland from Winterville, Georgia, on the Maximum Power Sports of Georgia. Dunlop Tires. 100% goggles backed ride. 250C College coming up next. 10 seconds. Jonathan Matheny, Andrew Lasik, Dakota Perry, Seth Perry, Brendan Dodery, Joseph Walls, Austin Stump, Avery Brown, Dustin Anderson, Christopher Graham, Noah Hoopman, Blake Barker, Timothy Napper, Michael Rango, Ragno, Cameron Madison, Jordan Boring, Devin Campbell, Trevor Miller, Ben Kirkland, and Jeremy Ladon. It's Jeremy Ladon on the Ladon Racing Machine, grabbing the early lead in this one. And by the way, that Timothy Napper or Napier from Shady Spring, my mama was a Napper, and I understand that if you had money, you pronounced it Napier. My mama evidently didn't have money. I don't know. But anyway, welcome to the Nappers. 10 seconds. Our final row, the Trail Riders: Timothy Ellington, Steve Meadows, Zach Stone, Brock Belso, Franklin Moats, Lath Ganem, David Blankenship, Alex Henderson, Anthony Dodrell, Russ Black, Scott Black, Aaron Sparks, and Mike DeMouse. All righty, around this turn, it is 475. That is Brock Belso from Medina, Ohio. And that, my friends, is your starts here for today. Looks like everyone off and rolling. And we are about ready to get our XC2 lined up for today's racing action. And we're going to head on over to Mikey Waynes on the other side near the finish line. Catch up with what's going on here trackside. Those of you at home on YouTube, come back and check in with us about 1 o'clock this afternoon, as we'll get GNCC Live up and running for you and get the race day concluded here at Summit Bechtel Reserve for this Yamaha Mountaineer GNCC.